Okay, so this is day 74 of being housed. It is Tuesday, October the 28th, 2025. I want to provide an update regarding the Planes and People Watching manuscript and the Meet a Need with Me or Help Meet a Need with Me idea. Um, the first thing I want to say is um, I noticed since I started working, um, the time that I have has decreased, so that's to be expected. But in the ways that it has decreased, it's more or less unexpected in multiple ways. But the one is the I didn't realize, and I couldn't have realized before starting this role how exhausted you can feel. And that exhaustion it comes from um, well, there's going to be the physical exertion, but it's also there's a lot of mental and spiritual exhaustion that occurs primarily from being subject to things that they're difficult to witness and they're difficult to experience. Conversations that are very difficult to hear, and they reveal like really deep and problematic and traumatic issues and events that occur in our society, and but they occur in like the darker crevices. So they're seldom like we might hear about them in passing, but not directly, and definitely not in such a candid and transparent way where somebody might have been assaulted, for example, to put it lightly, the night prior, and then it provides you with more variables or more information as to some of the behavioral issues um, that they're exhibiting, but also too like maybe different. It might provide or it provides different revelation into some of the choices that they're making to virtually to escape the trauma that they're it seems like they're continually exposed to. When I leave, these things are difficult to. It's similar to being in a smoky room. Um, when you although you're not smoking yourself, when you leave, you're going to smell like a smoker. So it's imperative to get that smoke out of your clothes. You got to rinse the clothing off. And I remember when I was younger, for my high school football team, I did a fundraising event at one of the local bingo halls, and back then they people smoked a lot, and they chain smoked in those bingo halls. And I remember coming home, and I remember thinking, "Oh my goodness, like my clothes reek of cigarette smoke." And then I went in the shower and I was thinking, "Oh, I think it's even in my hair." So it wasn't just washing the clothes, it was also rinsing out the smoke from your hair. That would be a perfect illustration to reveal like when you leave work, these things you can carry them along with you, and you need like a spiritual cleansing. You need to be refreshed so you don't bring these home with you to the next stanza or phase in that day. There's also issues with personnel. Unfortunately, things are not overly smooth. There's been a few things that I've noted, and there's been, we'll say, gossip, for example. Um, I'm very intentional of making it known that I won't participate in any gossip. And oftentimes, I just keep busy because I don't like those idle moments when people start to come together and start to talk about things that have nothing to do with work. And sometimes people are being invasive and they're probing for personal information, which makes you feel very uncomfortable. So there's um, sociological issues like that actually cause a lot of they can really drain you, and they drain your energy, and oh goodness, it's something. Then there's the prep work before work. I like to pray before I go to work, and to just to submit my heart to God before I go to work, and and to go in with a focused mind frame to serve the people around me. that there's preparation comes with that. Also, I take naps if I feel a little tired. I make sure I nap. The food prep is another thing that I'm very intentional for doing. So there's all of these things, but then also too there's the external or outside commitments. So last night I was asked to come in just to I just went in for a couple hours to help clean, and then tonight there's um, an event that's occurring, and I'll be going to that as well. So it's probably 1 or 2 hours, and I believe that's a paid event. But regardless, it's still you have to work your day around it. So all that being said, these are just these are part of it. They're part of the day-to-day work routine. And it's the I find it's like the visualization before you go in, then the decompression after you leave. um, they add to the overall like hours or the duration that you've worked. So I thought this was a wonderful thing to talk about, a wonderful thing to record. And this once you get in the routine of these things, then it just becomes routine and habitual. But I find I'm in a very novel and a very good position to be able to identify these things and kind of break it down um, um, to break it down into smaller details or smaller pieces of information, so they're easier to chew. And I think there's a lot of good value that can come from this, just in the sense of it just brings a more holistic perspective to when somebody's working, to understand it's not just the duration of hours that they're physically at that work, but it's like the preparation before work, but also the decompression after work. And also depending on the things that they're exposed to. I found when I was in my corporate job, oh goodness, there were some things that unfortunately I walked in on. So there's a lot of evil things that occur behind in secret, and when you're exposed to those things, they can have an impact on you. There was also a lot of workplace bullying and a toxic atmosphere in one of the departments that had a major impact. It carries forward. It can carry forth with you into your home or personal life. Those things, and then in this situation though it's much different, because we're talking about people that are going through some very traumatic issues that most people would never want to even like. It's I don't think anybody want to hear these things, but most people are probably not exposed to these things. So there's that exposure, and it can have an impact on you. And there is um, I would say not just preparatory, but there is like a response that you need to do. Like I said, or like I was talking about with the washing of the clothes to get the smoke out. Once you're exposed to these things, there's things that need to be done and noted to virtually cleanse you, so you don't carry those things along with you. So I think this is wonderful food for thought. And this video could be a good facilitator of conversations that go in this direction, because they can help many folks, if only by shedding light on the things that are more obscured or less commonly talked about. Okay. In the next video, I'm going to see if I can do it on this application again. I'm going to talk about the planes and people watching, and where I'm at with that, to give a progress update.